The awakening. Pain. That was the first sensation Commander Elena Frost felt as consciousness returned to her frozen mind. A deep, burning pain that radiated from her core outward through every nerve ending as her body fought against 5 millennia of suspended animation. She gasped, drawing air into lungs that hadn't functioned in 50,000 years. Her eyes opened to blinding light, unfocused and crusted with the remnants of cryostasis fluid. Vital signs stabilizing. "Welcome back, Commander Frost." The AI's voice was steady, familiar, a remnant of a world long gone. Elena tried to speak, but her throat was too dry. A tube extended toward her lips, offering water. She drank greedily, the cool liquid bringing her further back to life with each swallow. "Cronus," she finally managed to rasp. "Status report. Commander Frost, you have been in cryostasis for approximately 50,152 years, significantly exceeding intended duration. The facility experienced a catastrophic power fluctuation following the Arcturus event. Emergency protocols diverted all power to maintaining stasis integrity for the Phoenix Battalion." Elena's military training kicked in, helping her process the impossible information. 50,000 years. Everyone she knew outside this facility would be dust. The world she'd sworn to protect, gone. "The battalion?" she asked, her voice growing stronger. "All cryopods maintain integrity. Life signs detected in 99.7% of units. Total viable personnel, 9,973. Nearly 10,000 elite soldiers, scientists, and specialists. Earth's final contingency plan in case of civilization collapse." The Phoenix Battalion had been placed in stasis during the final days of the Arcturus War, meant to sleep for a century at most. As Elena's vision cleared, she made out the vast chamber beyond her pod. Rows of cryostasis units stretched as far as she could see, each containing a member of her command. Their pods glowed with the soft blue light of active stasis fields. "Why revival now?" she asked, flexing her fingers, testing her muscles. External sensors detected activity matching awakening criteria. Multiple factions with advanced technology capabilities are engaging in military action within Earth's orbit. Planetary defense protocols activated. "Show me," Elena ordered, struggling to sit up. The wall before her transformed into a view screen. What she saw made her freeze. Earth was still there, still blue and beautiful, but utterly transformed. Massive cities sprawled across continents that had shifted position. Glittering structures reached into the upper atmosphere, and above it all, ships of incredible design clashed in orbital combat, weapons flaring with energy she couldn't comprehend. "Current planetary situation?" she asked, forcing herself to her feet. Her muscles protested, but held. "Earth is inhabited by several evolved branches of humanity. Genetic drift and environmental adaptation have resulted in 4 distinct subspecies. The Solarians control 63% of the surface, the Oceanic Coalition 24%, the Terran Remnant 10%, with remaining territories disputed. Current conflict involves all Earth factions against an external invasion force known as the Nexus." Elena watched the battle unfolding in orbit. Despite the thousands of years that had passed, her tactical mind immediately assessed the situation. The Earth forces were fighting defensively, outgunned but using their knowledge of local space to advantage. "Cronus, begin revival sequence for primary command staff. Science Officer Lin, Major Kovacs, and Lieutenant Commander Reyes first." "Acknowledged, Commander." Revival cycle initiated. As Cronus began awakening her senior officers, Elena moved to a storage unit and retrieved her uniform. The Phoenix Battalion insignia was still vivid, a bird rising from flames, wrapped in a circle of stars. The last defenders of Earth, now awakened to a world that had moved on without them. She dressed quickly, the familiar weight of the uniform centering her thoughts. The hiss of another cryopod opening told her she would soon have company. "Cronus, what's the status of our defense systems?" "Facility defenses operational at 83% capacity. Weapon systems are antiquated by current standards but remain functional. The Phoenix Array is still online. Elena nodded. The Phoenix Array. The reason her battalion had been placed here in the first place. A weapon of last resort, never deployed during the Arcturus War. Science Officer Lin was the first to join her, looking disoriented, but quickly adapting as all Phoenix personnel were trained to do. "Commander," she said, eyes widening as she took in the view screen showing the orbital battle. "How long?" 50,000 years, Dr. Lin. Elena replied, watching as understanding dawned on her science officer's face. Earth has evolved. Humanity has evolved. And they're under attack. Lin moved to a console, fingers flying across the interface as she accessed data. These readings, incredible. The planetary population is over 15 billion. Technology levels exceed our pre-stasis civilization by magnitudes. And the genetic divergence. She stopped suddenly, staring at a particular readout. "Commander, you need to see this." Elena joined her at the console. The screen showed comparative DNA analyses between pre-stasis humans and the current Earth subspecies. "They're all still human," Lin explained, "but adapted to different environments. The Solarians have enhanced radiation resistance and photosynthetic skin capabilities. The Oceanic Coalition has developed yield structures and pressure tolerance. But here's the interesting part. Our DNA shows changes too." "What?" Elena leaned closer. "The neural enhancers in the cryofluid. They were only meant for short-term stasis, but over 50 millennia. Our neural pathways have been significantly enhanced. Cognitive processing, reaction times, memory integration, all improved. We're not the same humans who went into stasis." Before Elena could process this, an alarm sounded. Kronos's voice came through the facility speakers. "Alert. Vessel approaching facility perimeter. Configuration matches Solarian design." "They've detected our activation," Elena said. "Prepare for first contact and continue reviving our people. We need to be ready for whatever comes next." Major Kovacs and Lieutenant Commander Reyes joined them minutes later, quickly briefed on their situation. Together, the command team made their way to the facility's entrance chamber, a massive hall designed for deployment operations that had remained sealed for 50,000 years. "Open external visual," Elena ordered when they reached the entrance control station. The wall before them shimmered, becoming transparent from their side. Outside, a sleek vessel hovered above the landing pad. It was elegant, almost organic in design, glowing with soft golden light. A hatch opened in its side, and 3 figures emerged. They were unmistakably human in basic form, but taller and more slender than baseline humans. Their skin had a golden hue that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight, and their eyes were larger, with irises that shifted colors like living kaleidoscopes. "Kronos, can you translate if they speak?" Elena asked. Language analysis indicates modern Earth languages evolved from known linguistic roots. Translation capabilities at 89% and adaptively improving. Elena straightened her uniform and made her decision. Open exterior communication. When the system acknowledged, she spoke clearly. "This is Commander Elena Frost of Earth's Phoenix Battalion. Identify yourselves." The 3 figures outside startled visibly. They conferred briefly before the central figure looked up, somehow finding the hidden camera. "I am Ambassador Helios of the Solarian Confederation," a melodic voice replied, the AI translating without perceptible delay. "We detected an energy signature from this region that matches no known technology." The figure paused. "Did you say Earth's Phoenix Battalion? You are original humans." "We were placed in cryostasis 50,000 years ago," Elena confirmed. "We've just awakened." The 3 Solarians seemed stunned, then excited. They spoke rapidly among themselves before Ambassador Helios addressed them again. "Commander Frost, this is an unprecedented moment in our history. You are the ancestors, figures of legend from the First Age. Your return comes at a critical time. Earth faces extinction at the hands of the Nexus, a machine intelligence from beyond our star cluster. Elena exchanged glances with her officers. We've observed the orbital battle. What can you tell us about this Nexus? They arrived 3 years ago, systematically conquering our outer colonies. They seek resources and assimilation of biological life. Our defenses are failing. All Earth factions have united against them, but their technology exceeds ours. Elena considered this information. Ambassador Helios, I have nearly 10,000 personnel in this facility. Soldiers, scientists, and specialists from Earth's past. We were placed here as a contingency against extinction-level threats. It seems that purpose remains relevant. The Solarians conferred again, their expressions shifting through emotions Elena couldn't fully interpret with their altered physiognomy. Commander Frost, Helios finally replied. The Solarian High Council requests immediate conference. Your emergence could change the course of this war. Will you join us? Elena looked at her officers, seeing determination reflected in their eyes. 50,000 years had passed, but their mission remained the same. Protect Earth and humanity, whatever it had become. We will meet with your council, Ambassador. But first, I need to awaken more of my people. The Phoenix Battalion stands ready to defend Earth, even an Earth we no longer recognize. As more cryopods cycled open throughout the facility, Elena stood at the command center, watching the ongoing battle in orbit. Earth had changed beyond recognition, evolved into something her people had never imagined. But some things remained constant. The courage to fight against overwhelming odds, the determination to survive. The Phoenix Battalion was awakening to a new era and a desperate struggle. They were relics of a forgotten age, but perhaps that was exactly what Earth needed, warriors with strategies and technologies the enemy had never encountered. 50,000 years had passed, but humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to adapt, to overcome, to rise from the ashes. And that was something time could never change. The Reckoning. The Solarian High Council chamber stretched upward in a vast spiral, its walls composed of living crystal that pulsed with golden light. 2,000 evolved humans watched in stunned silence as Commander Elena Frost stood before them, 4 of her senior officers at her side. They were relics from a mythical past, the ancestors themselves. The Nexus invasion force outnumbers our combined fleet 3-1. Counselor Farron was saying, his kaleidoscope eyes shifting through patterns of concern. Their primary vessel carries a dimensional collapse weapon capable of destabilizing Earth's tectonic structure. Elena studied the tactical display hovering in the chamber center. The Nexus fleet was arranged in a standard encirclement pattern, effective but predictable. Even separated by 50 millennia, some military principles remained constant. You're fighting defensively, she observed. That's your mistake. A murmur spread through the chamber. Counselor Farron's eyes flashed red momentarily. Commander Frost, with respect to your historical status, our forces are outgunned and outmatched. Defensive positioning is our only viable strategy. Elena moved forward, entering the holographic display. With practiced gestures, she manipulated the projection, rearranging the Earth fleet formations. Your ships are faster and more maneuverable. You're sacrificing your advantage by trying to match their firepower. Instead, concentrate your forces here and here. She indicated 2 points in the Nexus formation, creating the impression of a desperate breakthrough attempt. Major Kovic stepped forward to continue the explanation. Meanwhile, your stealth vessels should approach from these vectors, targeting their command ship's propulsion systems. The Nexus will expect a frontal assault. They won't anticipate an attack on mobility rather than offensive capability. The council members exchanged glances. Admiral Selene, commander of the Solarian fleet, moved closer to the display. This strategy, it contradicts 3 centuries of established space warfare doctrine, she said, but her tone was thoughtful rather than dismissive. Exactly, Elena replied. The Nexus has been studying your tactics, adapting to your patterns. but they've never encountered Phoenix Battalion strategies. Our methods died with the First Age. Before the Council could respond, an aide rushed into the chamber. Nexus vessels have altered course. A strike force of 30 ships is heading directly toward the western continental shelf, toward the Phoenix facility. Alina's expression hardened. They know we're awake. Impossible, Councillor Theron protested. This meeting has been conducted under highest security protocols. Yet they're coming for us, Lieutenant Commander Rice said, which means either you have a security breach, or the Nexus has capabilities you don't understand. Alina turned to her science officer. Dr. Lin, what's the revival status? Nearly 3,000 personnel awake and operational, Commander. Another 1,000 in final revival phase. Admiral Celine. Alina addressed the Solarian Fleet Commander. We need transportation back to our facility immediately, and we request a joint defense force. The Admiral's eyes cycled through blues and greens before settling on a determined amber. Granted, I'll dispatch our 5th Battle Group to your position. As the Phoenix officers prepared to depart, Councillor Theron approached Alina. Commander Frost, there's something you should know. The legends of the First Age speak of a weapon, the Phoenix Array. Our archaeologists have found references to it, but never its location. Alina met his gaze steadily. The array exists, Counselor. It was the reason for our battalion's creation. A final option if all else failed. Can it be used against the Nexus? Potentially, but it was never meant to be deployed except in the most extreme circumstances. The collateral damage would be significant. Theron's eyes darkened. Commander, if the Nexus deploys their dimensional collapse weapon, Earth will be rendered uninhabitable. I would call that extreme circumstances. Alina nodded grimly. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Back at the Phoenix facility, Alina found a hive of activity. Warriors who had slept for 50 millennia moved with purpose, checking weapons, analyzing tactical data, preparing for battle. The advanced neural pathways created by their extended cryosleep enhanced their ability to process the new world they found themselves in. Major Kovacs approached her in the command center. Commander, you need to see this. He led her to a section of the facility she hadn't visited since awakening, the Phoenix Array Control Chamber. Inside, Technical Director Abernathy and a team of specialists worked alongside Solarian engineers, interfacing ancient technology with modern systems. Director, Alina acknowledged. Status report. Abernathy looked up from a console. The array is operational, Commander. Better than operational. The Solarians have quantum entanglement technology that solves the targeting limitations we struggled with. With their enhancements, we could deploy the array with surgical precision. Alina studied the tactical displays. Instead of planetary scale effects, we could target just the Nexus fleet, Abernathy confirmed. Still devastating, but contained. Before Alina could respond, the facility alarms blared. Nexus strike force entering atmosphere, Kronos announced. ETA to Phoenix facility, 12 minutes. Battle stations, Alina ordered, moving quickly to the main command center. On the primary screen, she watched as 30 Nexus vessels, sleek, black ships that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, descended through the clouds. Solarian 5th Battle Group engaging, reported Lieutenant Commander Reyes. The screen showed golden Solarian ships moving to intercept, energy weapons blazing against the Nexus vessels. Our personnel? Alina asked. 3,000 combat ready. The rest still awakening or in medical recovery, Major Kovacs replied. Alina made her decision. Deploy defensive formations Alpha through Delta. Activate ground-to-orbit weapons platforms, and prepare the Phoenix Array for targeted deployment. The command center erupted in activity as orders were relayed. Outside, the Phoenix Battalion's first battle in 50,000 years began. Ancient weapon systems, designed with technologies developed along different paths than those of modern Earth, opened fire on the Nexus ships. The invaders, caught off guard by weapons that operated on principles their defensive systems couldn't recognize, suffered immediate casualties. In orbit, Admiral Selene implemented Elena's recommended strategy. The main Earth fleet executed their feigned breakthrough attempt, drawing Nexus attention while stealth vessels approached from behind. The battle unfolded exactly as Elena had predicted. The Nexus commanders, overconfident in their superior firepower, failed to protect their propulsion systems. "Commander," Dr. Lin called out, "I'm detecting an unusual energy signature from the largest Nexus vessel. It matches theoretical models for dimensional manipulation technology." Elena's expression grew grim. "They're preparing to deploy their collapse weapon." "Phoenix Array online," Director Abernathy reported. "Targeting solutions locked. Awaiting your command." Around the facility, the battle raged. Phoenix Battalion soldiers, enhanced by their evolved neural pathways, fought alongside Solarian warriors against Nexus ground forces, biomechanical constructs that poured from landed ships. The ancient human weapons proved surprisingly effective against the Nexus, who had no defensive countermeasures for technologies that had been extinct for millennia. But it wouldn't be enough. Not against the dimensional collapse weapon. Elena opened a communication channel to Admiral Selene. "Admiral, withdraw your forces from sectors 7 through 12 immediately." "Understood, Commander," came the reply. "May I ask why?" "We're deploying the Phoenix Array." There was a momentary silence. "Acknowledged. Earth forces withdrawing from target zone." Elena turned to Director Abernathy. "Target the Nexus command vessel only. Minimal spread." "Targeting confirmed. Array charged and ready." Elena took a deep breath. The Phoenix Array had been built as a weapon of absolute last resort. Even with the Solarians' targeting enhancements, its deployment would forever change the balance of power in this new world. Fire. From deep beneath the Phoenix facility, something awakened. The ground trembled as ancient machinery, designed by the most brilliant minds of a long-dead civilization, surged to life. A column of energy, invisible except for the air it superheated in its path, shot skyward. In orbit, the massive Nexus command vessel suddenly went dark. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, as if being consumed from within, the ship began to fold in on itself, collapsing into a singularity that immediately dispersed in a spectacular flash of energy. The effect on the remaining Nexus fleet was immediate. Without the command vessel's coordination, their formations fell into disarray. The Earth forces, previously on the defensive, surged forward in a coordinated assault that tore through the now vulnerable invaders. "Nexus vessels retreating," reported Lieutenant Commander Reyes, unable to keep the triumph from his voice. "They're breaking orbit and accelerating toward the outer system." A cheer went up through the command center. Elena allowed herself a small smile before issuing her next orders. "Maintain defensive positions. They may regroup for another attack. And continue revival procedures for our remaining personnel." Hours later, when it became clear the Nexus had truly retreated from the Earth system, Elena stood before a joint council of all Earth's subspecies, Solarians, Oceanics, Terrans, and Atmospherics. The Phoenix Array's deployment had changed everything. The evolved humans looked at Elena and her battalion with a mixture of awe, gratitude, and wariness. "You have saved Earth," Counselor Theron said, his eyes cycling through patterns of blue gratitude. "The Phoenix Battalion has fulfilled its ancient purpose." "For now," Elena replied. "But the Nexus will return, with greater numbers and adapted strategies. This was only their first wave." "Then what do you propose, Commander Frost?" asked Oceanic Elder Marina, her guild structures pulsing gently. "Alliance," Elena said simply. "In our time, humanity was divided, fighting among ourselves even as external threats loomed. You've evolved beyond that. Your subspecies work together despite your differences. That's a strength the Nexus doesn't possess." "And your battalion?" asked Terran Chief Janus. "What role do you envision for 10,000 warriors from the distant past?" Elena looked around at the representatives of humanity's evolved branches. We bring different perspectives, different technologies, different strategies, and we bring the Phoenix Array, a weapon the Nexus has no defense against. You propose to lead us. There was challenge in Chief Janus's tone. I propose to fight alongside you, Elena corrected. The Phoenix Battalion was created to ensure humanity's survival, not to rule it. Earth belongs to you now. We're just here to help you keep it. As the meeting concluded with the formal establishment of an Earth Defense Alliance, Elena stood at a viewport overlooking the planet. 50,000 years ago, she and her warriors had gone to sleep expecting never to awaken. Their world had been dying, torn apart by the Arcturus War. They were meant to be the final failsafe, a last hope for a civilization on the brink of extinction. Instead, they had awakened to find humanity not only survived but thrived, evolving into diverse forms adapted to different environments. The world had changed beyond recognition, but the core of what made humans special remained: courage, innovation, and determination in the face of overwhelming odds. Major Kovacs joined her at the viewport. Orders, Commander. Elena watched as Solarian ships moved in formation alongside vessels from the other human subspecies, preparing defensive positions against the Nexus's inevitable return. Continue integration with Earth Defense Forces, establish training protocols to share our combat doctrines, and prepare the facility for full operations. We have a lot of work to do. And our long-term objective. Elena's expression was determined as she looked out at the stars. The same stars she had known 50,000 years ago, now filled with both new threats and new possibilities. The same as it's always been, Major. We protect humanity, no matter what form it takes. Frozen in time for 50 millennia, the Phoenix Battalion had awakened to a new purpose. The last warriors of ancient Earth had become the guardians of humanity's future, and whatever the stars might throw at them next, they would face it together. The evolved and the awakened, united in common cause. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to adapt. And now, with the wisdom of the past and the innovation of the present, Earth stood ready for whatever challenges the universe had in store.